Right. Hey, after a terrifying home invasion, our next guest decided to buy a gun. But what she found out shocked her. New gun control measures that don't work for law-abiding citizens, but instead seem to be working better for the criminals.
Joining us now with the details is the author of the new book, Emily Gets Her Gun, but Obama Wants to Take Yours. Emily Miller joining us live from Washington. Emily, thanks for joining us. I'm a little confused. The Supreme Court has weighed in twice in the past couple of years on the question of the Second Amendment, finding it to apply to individuals. This ought to give every person, law-abiding person, the right to have a firearm, but it doesn't?
Well, the Supreme Court in the Heller decision in 2008 and then McDonald a year later ruled on keeping firearms, saying that the government couldn't take your right to have a firearm, which overturned the 30-year gun ban in Washington. But they really didn't rule on some other things, which is the limits on what can be owned and then also when you can carry a gun. So that's where Obama weaseled his way in this year, unfortunately exploiting this terrible Newtown tragedy last December, and is able to get all 5 states, in fact, this year to pass gun control measures and able to ram through, at least trying to ram through this in the Senate and pushing, and of course, all of this is being paid for by New York City Mayor Mike Bloomberg, trying to turn votes still to pass it in the Senate.
So tell us how difficult it was to get that gun we see you holding.
That's my SIG. Well, and Washington has the strictest gun control laws in the country, and now that such strict laws have passed all over the country, people are challenging me on that. But I'm sticking with Washington. There were 17 steps to getting a gun here in D.C., and it cost $435 in fees when I did this last year, and it took me 4 months to have a legal gun in my home that I can't take out.
That's unbelievable. I was amazed and horrified to learn from your book that in D.C., it is illegal to have an empty shotgun shell in your possession, and the penalties are really severe. Even to accidentally have it. You're coming back from hunting, caught with a shotgun shell, and what happens?
This is something I got from the police department, and it's in my book. I have the actual training document for the police that were given this year. And it states that they should, when they're pulling people over, look for empty brass casings or shotgun shells, because that carries the same penalty as a firearm in D.C., which is a $1,000 fine and a year in jail. And you will definitely get, no matter what, you're going to get arrested and put in jail if they find them. Now, of course, everyone, who has a registered gun in D.C.? A few thousand people. Everybody, they're tourists. They're people who live in Virginia, people who live in Maryland. I'm a shooter. I accidentally throw some empty brass in my car. If you're a hunter, you accidentally forgot you have a few empty shells in your pockets and you throw them in the car. That will throw you in jail, and the police are being trained to look for that here in D.C. And so, this is a warning for tourists. Be really careful when you come into the nation's capital.
Listen to Emily throwing those terms around. Throw some brass in my, back.
Unless you're David Gregory at NBC, in which case, totally fine.
Hey, Emily, thanks a lot. Good luck with the book.
Thanks
the book
for
is
having
awesome.
me.
Thanks, Emily.
Hey, what better
Thank
way
you.
to experience